So what are we going to talk about? The housing situation in Australia. The housing situation in Australia is the most unaffordable in the developed world. When one gets on the web and looks at house prices in Canada, you can go and buy a nice two-storey house for $150,000 to $200,000. In Australia, that's absolutely impossible. They're claiming this is the best country or the best city, in the most livable city in the world, according to the media in this country. And that's just not on, because the house prices are 8 times the average yearly wage, which is severely unaffordable, which is unaffordable for the young married couples.
How many times the yearly wage are they in other countries?
Well, we can look at parts of Canada. For example, Vancouver is on a par with Melbourne, which is about 8 times the yearly wage. If we go across to Nova Scotia, it's something like 3 times. If you go to Winnipeg, it's 3 times.
It's a big difference, eh?
It's a hell of a difference.
So you're not locked down for 20 years trying to pay off a place,
that's
thing.
Right. It's severely unaffordable for young married couples in this country, as it is in England, Holland, Belgium, Ireland, New Zealand.
United States?
Pardon?
United States?
The United States, it's affordable in some states, others are severely unaffordable. It's worse than Australia.
I mean, that means people from Australia could go there, like sell what they own in their house here, go over there, and they'd be out of a mortgage in their 30s.
Well, that's right.
I
saw houses for sale in Detroit City for $100 to $500. This is after the mortgage meltdown.
Oh.
So it just shows you what's going on. But places like Seattle, not Seattle,
Washington?
in California, San Diego, I think would be the highest. Melbourne is more severely unaffordable than New York City.
Really, you can get relatively cheaper ones in New York, based on. You can get one that's less multiples of the wage in New York.
That's right. That's
right.
So this is a national disgrace, and the trouble is, it's happening right away across Australia, from Melbourne right across to Perth, from here to Darwin, even in Tasmania, where there's low employment.
And it's still expensive.
It's still unaffordable. And the same thing is going on has been going on in New Zealand. Now, I lived in Christchurch for a number of years. There was 435,000 people living in Christchurch. When I was there, the housing there was about 3 times your yearly wage. Now it's about 7 or 8 there also. And the population in Christchurch hasn't moved at all, whereas in Melbourne it has. You know, it's not on. And the politicians were claiming here that there's a shortage of land in Australia, which is absolute nonsense. Just absolute nonsense.
Yeah, there's so much land that they don't release, and that they set up rules to stop subdivisions.
This is one of the problems of the housing shortage in Australia, is they're not releasing land. Plus, of course, they've been following the economic policies of North America, whereby Alan Greenspan was throwing easy money at people, and a lot of countries were following in his footsteps, and this has forced the prices of houses right up. And this is why interest rates have had to rise in Australia to try and counteract the house price inflation. In fact, one of the Alan Bollard, who was in charge of the Reserve Bank in New Zealand, put up the interest rates, and he made a public statement saying he was doing it solely to burst the housing bubble in New Zealand. This was about 9 months ago.
Also because demand for houses is quite high.
Pardon?
Australia's population is growing faster.
Well, this is another thing. There's 500 people coming into Melbourne every week, which it's too many, and there's not enough housing, not enough accommodation to accommodate all these people. And of course, there's
But they reckon that the rental vacancies are down less than 1% or something.
It's less than 1%
Yeah.
now.
Is it so?
Which isn't that many considering
The millions of people. Yeah,
It's just not fair on the young. Now, I've been on some German websites just recently. I've had a look at websites in Berlin, in Kiel, Stuttgart, where else? Hamburg, and Lübeck mainly. And there's flats everywhere, and affordable, all around most parts of Germany. And if you look at Berlin, you look at one suburb, and there might be, say, 150 flats to let in one suburb. You go to the next one, there might be 50. You go to the next one, there might be 80 or something like that. And that's in the city of Berlin of 800,000 people. So what the hell is going on here with housing affordability? You know, that country was smashed up totally during the war. Now they can house their own people, and Australia can't.
if you go to a lot of the new estates and you see the houses they're building, they don't need a house. That's just taking it and
well, there's plenty of land here. There's no shortage of land. You know, this is just ridiculous to say there's a shortage of land, because 15 years ago Japan had this problem with housing unaffordability, and the Japanese government put up the interest rates to burst the bubble there, and they were saying there's a shortage of land in Japan. Today, Japan is affordable for housing.
Japan's different because in Japan you can get around the city and country quite easily. You can work in one city and live in another.
Yeah, but you can afford a house there now, but you couldn't before.
But in Australia, I mean, I used to work 20 k's that way. It takes an hour to 2 hours to get to work, and you couldn't do it from So, because of the availability of where work is, it's sort of limited to where you live. There might be a lot of land, but you're going to spend 2 hours each day.
Well, they have to spread the industry out where all the housing is. Like I notice around Germany, you've got industries around the smaller towns, and the same goes for England. You've got factories in around the English villages. It's not all centralised into London. They've got to do the same thing here. They've got to spread it all out a bit more.
Actually, I think they should be concentrating on these smaller cities like Brumby and Ballarat.
Well, yeah.
And perhaps, rather than growing the population by letting adults in, we need a house straight away. Built by coaches. If you increase the population of having children, you've got 18 to 20 years before they should build a house of their own. But if you do it by a skilled immigration working visas, you do house straight away.
And they're immediately drawing on like the healthcare system and things like that, eh? Is that ultimate? Yeah.
Yeah, well, it's got to the stage I'm going to have to leave the country soon, I think, because it's not.
Have you looked into trying to move to Europe, or more?
Well, I have. I'm not an Australian citizen, so you know I've got that option. I can go and sort of live in any of the EEC countries.
Oh, you got European Union.
Yeah, so I have got that option. But it looks like I'm going to have to take that because. You know, this housing crisis here, I think it's going to take a few years to sort itself out. You know, they're not going to turn it around in 6 months or a year or something like that. It's going to take quite a while. But well, it'll probably take a decade. I don't know, but it's all to do with how the previous government have been, you know, liberal with other people's money, I suppose you could say.